North American Guild of Beer Writers. There's a podcast category based on that stellar banter that you're a shoo-in for like a participant trophy.
Oh, God.
We'll win the coveted Good Try Award.
Yeah,
Boy, the A for effort.
there it is.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Lager Room. It is Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, is none other than Mr. Eating Food Every Day himself, Beer Samurai. There he is. Can you say hello with shit in your mouth there, Dave?
Like you don't eat food every day, John?
Oh, no. Eating food every podcast, I should say.
Every
show. There you go. My bad.
Happy Tamale Day, guys.
Happy Tamale Day.
I've got some tamales here.
There we go.
They're from Azteca, which is around
National
here.
Tamale Day. Is it International Tamale Day or National Tamale Day?
It's actually National Tamale Day. I don't know if there's an international one.
Wouldn't it be international? Because that's international cuisine now, isn't it?
You would think.
You would think. Right.
These are a little, I wanted them a little spicier, so we're going to spice them up a little bit with some six-pack Brewing hot sauce here.
Throw a nod to Mark.
Yep, throw a little nod to Mark. He makes some really good hot sauce. Yeah. And it's appropriate that, I've got some six-pack Brewing here because, the six-pack refers to his 6 dogs.
This is true.
And today is actually, it's National Puppy Day.
It is National Puppy Day. And as soon as, throughout the show, our viewers and listeners, obviously on the audio podcast, will get to know of the lovely Apple hijinks that have been going on all day with me and my damn new operating system. Big Sir,
it's a big bust.
This is what I give. This is what I give the new Big Sir operating system right here.
The angry poo emoji.
Yeah, that sucks. Everything's taken forever. There we go. It stopped spinning, so I can put up National. Oops, no, it's not. That was last week. National Tamale Day. There we go.
You can blame that on Apple.
Yes, absolutely blame that on Apple. It is National Tamale Day. We had that up already, so it's National. Look, it actually switched them. Unbelievable. National Puppy Day.
And National Puppy Day. And there's another reason we're celebrating National Puppy Day.
Why is another reason we're celebrating National Puppy Day?
Because of our guest today.
Well, we're celebrating our guest because of National Puppy Day, too. It can go both ways. Right?
Both ways.
Both ways. Let's bring our guest on, shall we? While you stuff your face with that tamale.
We'll go tamales.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Mrs. Gretchen Schmidhausler. Did I say that?
Hi guys.
He's going to blame everything on Apple today.
I'm going to blame everything on Apple, even my pronunciation of your last name today. I think I got it right? Gretchen?
Yes, I'm here.
Did I get it right?
Am I here? Yeah, you're close.
Schmid.
Close. I'm not
close enough. Close enough.
Close enough.
It's like I got a German last name too, so I better be at least close. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Gretchen is the owner and brewmaster of Little Dog Brewing in Neptune City, New Jersey, and she's got a glorious history in the brewing industry, especially in the state of New Jersey. So we're going to hear all about that tonight. But before we do, why don't we open some beer? Because, again, this long day I've had with Apple back and forth, I could use a beer.
I thought you'd never ask.
Plus, Brian finally said finally. There he goes.
He's been waiting patiently.
He's been waiting patiently as he cooks. All right, Dave, what are you drinking?
Well, yes, I need something to wash this tamale down with. God, these tamales are good. So I'm going to start. We had to do German styles, right? Mm-hmm. Go to German styles today. And I'm actually going to be drinking a Doppelbock, which is technically a lager, on the Lager Room, which is unheard of. This is Fluorescinator by Carton. This is a Doppelbock, rather than using hops, they put coffee in where the hops should be. So I hope it's noble coffee, right?
You would hope.
So we're going to give that a pour. I'm surprised I didn't pour it more poorly.
Was that a pun intended?
That was not intentional.
How is it?
It's a coffee beer.
It's a coffee beer? Yeah, I actually heard about that from somebody over the weekend. NJ Beer Guy with underscores in between each word on Instagram told me he had one the other day, and it was a coffee beer. So,
well, the one
great,
thing
delicious coffee beer, but it was a coffee
it's
beer.
delicious. I've had it before, and I'll say one thing: the spice in the tamale is making it a little sweeter than it should be.
Is that right?
That's how food interacts with.
That's how food interacts with beer.
What are you drinking?
It's ironic that you're drinking a beer from the Mr. Food guy himself when it comes to beer, but that's
don't mention his name.
I didn't say a word.
Don't say his name. He may appear.
It actually held up very well. It's my fault though.
What held up well?
This delicious porter from Little Dog Brewing.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm not getting any metal whatsoever. There's no signs of aging on this in a bad way whatsoever. It's actually pretty damn tasty. And I've been sitting on this a while, not intentionally. I actually, about 3-4 days ago, actually, I was moving some bottles from one cabinet to another, and it's like, oh my God, I still have this bottle. So right in the fridge it went. It was in the basement, so it was cooler anyway. So
it's a collector's item now too.
You're drinking a collector's item.
I am not getting rid of this bottle. This is actually really good.
Good.
For the age it has on it. Yeah, great. But the obviously you're going to get much better stuff at the brewery, which is in Neptune City. So why don't we hear a little bit about that?
Well, you didn't ask Gretchen what she's drinking.
I was about to in a second. Give me a second, jeez. Why don't we? This is the lead into that. Obviously, what are you drinking there?
When I first opened, I've been open in my 7th year.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I was doing the 22-ounce bomber bottles.
Sure.
They did well for a while, and then not so much. I've seen a lot of changes since I've been in the industry back since '96, and certainly I've seen a lot of changes since I opened in 2014. So, like many people, I've gone to cans. And I'm happy to say that I'm doing large cans at the brewery still. And I'm doing 16-ounce 4-packs of the Gesundheit and the Duck Boy Pale, 2 of my flagships. And I heard from my distributor today, they're at 35. I think we're in 35 retail accounts throughout New Jersey. And I think that's a pretty good start. I think they've had the beer for about a month.
Nice.
So I'm drinking my Duck Boy Pale. It's one of my favorites. It's tasting great. I am so embarrassed to say that since we rebuilt and moved into our, quote unquote new house, I have no beer glasses in the house. I looked all over, so I'm drinking out of my dinner glass, my wine glass. All my impressive pint glass collection is all wrapped up and in storage over at the brewery. I haven't convinced my husband that that there's a place for them to be displayed here yet. So we've been talking about that. So they're at the brewery now.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to rectify that situation very shortly. So you would hope.
And I know exactly where you're coming from. I just recently moved back from Rhode Island, and most of my beer glasses are somewhere way back in the corner of the apartment somewhere.
Yeah, they take up a lot of room.
Mm-hmm. And I keep downsizing. I'm downsizing my space, so less and less glasses come out.
Yeah. Hopefully you will find it. I mean, actually, at this point, in time, I need everybody. Any of us need basically your own room for. Have the glasses have their own room. One other quick thing, because it just happened there. We froze. I'm not sure if that was just on my end or if you guys experienced. That was just me. Good.
Yeah, I saw you.
If you guys see this video freeze at all, hopefully you'll still be able to hear the audio, so let it go. And obviously, if you're listening to the audio podcast, once it goes up on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it doesn't matter. What we're saying is irrelevant because you're just going to keep listening to the audio anyway. So, and I do apologize for that. And if
saying is irrelevant,
if I do seem a little aggravated today, it's because of that. So, I apologize for that. Anyway, so let's get to you, Gretchen. That's the main reason we're here today, right? Actually, we have one comment. Let me just double check what it is. Brian said no freezing. Well, that is good.
Well, it's
Since
not
it's spring,
up to
you would hope it was no freezing. So.
Not up to him, Brian.
But anyway, all right. So appreciate that, Brian. Brian, our quote unquote producer. I always got to say quote unquote producer with that. So, but in any event, let's roll all the way back. When did you first get started brewing, Gretchen?
So I started, like a lot of people, I started as a home brewer, but I wasn't a particularly accomplished home brewer. I was actually home brewing, should I say, like 30 years ago, something like that. And I was homebrewing with an old boyfriend. We both, well, I've always liked good beer. When I was a kid, I mean, my girlfriends and I were always drinking, kind of the better beers that were available to us at the time. I'll get back to that. So I was dating this guy, and we liked good beer. You wouldn't have called it craft beer at the time. There just wasn't a lot of things available to us. Sure. We started home brewing. Strictly pots on the stove, not all grain, just like an intermediate brew. I broke up with him, and I maintained a relationship with Red Bank Brewing Supply. They used to be on Monmouth Street in Red Bank, and we kind of became friendly. And they called me up one day out of the blue and asked me if I wanted to come and manage the homebrew store. And everything worked out perfectly, because I had been doing a lot of freelance writing. I had been laid off from a job at a medical marketing company, and was doing the freelancing, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So I took the job at Red Bank, and who knew? That's really where I learned to brew. My homebrew skills were still kind of, rudimentary, but putting together the recipes for the customers who would come in. Now, by that time, this kind of full service homebrew shop had moved to more of a kind of a closet homebrew shop on Oakland Street. And the guys from Red Bank were in the process of opening one of the first breweries in New Jersey in 96. Well, I guess I was there like 96, 97. But they had just changed the laws to allow microbreweries to exist, no tasting room, strictly production breweries. And Red Bank was a 30-barrel lager brewery. And they made great beer and were, unfortunately, not surprisingly, ahead of their time. So the venture did not last. I want to say maybe 4 years. I worked for them as the assistant brewer for a while, because eventually we closed they made the decision to close the homebrew shop, and I moved into the brewery. And so that's really where I learned to brew. And then I got laid off, and they went out of business, maybe a year later, something like that. And I realized that it was something that I just really, really had embraced and enjoyed. I love the creativity. I love the kind of the routine of it. I'm German. I like that routine, logging in your boil time and knowing that your day is going to go like this after that with any luck. And I like the PR aspect of it, talking about the beer. So I was kind of devastated when I lost that job. I've remained friends with Tom Clark, the owner. He's out of Berwick Brewing now. And, he's definitely been a mentor, and he's, helped me out with a lot of equipment and, modifications and whatnot. And so I ended up going out to brewing school in California, American Brewers Guild. I think I'm wearing the hat. And I did a residential program. I was out there for 3 months. And I think we were one of the last residential programs, classes out there. And they're doing it out of Vermont now. And I think it's a mix of, well, now I guess everything is online. And I came out of there and was very lucky. Ann Hall, who owned the Ship Inn and was very active in the Restaurant Association, the Ship Inn ended up being really the first brewery to be licensed in New Jersey in modern times. Mm-hmm. And she knew I was looking for a job, and she said, "Hey, why don't you come brew here? My son wants to get out of the brewery and spend more time in the kitchen." And so I took the job as the brewer at the Ship Inn, and I worked for them for only 6 months. It was about an hour and 35 minutes from home. It was part-time, and it was really kind of a long haul for me.
Sure.
So I ended up getting a job at Basil Teas in Red Bank, and that worked out very well. And I was the brewer there for 12 years. Yep. Left Basil's in 2011. I can't believe it's been 10 years.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 10 years.
Opened, and ended up opening Little Dog. I mean, that was really my plan. I loved Basil's. I hated to leave, but I felt like I had kind of gone as far as I was going to go there. Believe me, I still think about the food and someone paying all my bills and a salary. But what can you do? So here I am now.
Hard to walk away from that, but yeah.
Well,
Little Dog celebrated our we didn't celebrate our 6th anniversary in November. Our anniversary was in November, and I was like, oh yeah, kind of forgot about that. What do we do?
Well, I'm doing the math here. You left Basil Teas 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Little Dog opened almost 7 years ago.
So November of 2014 it opened, right?
Yeah. So there's a gap in there.
Yeah, definitely a gap. What did I do? I did a lot of things. I kind of enjoyed having a little free time. I did some consulting. I wrote a book on a home brewing book, making craft beer at home, which was released the month that I opened the brewery. So I never even got around to promoting it. You can still get it. You can still get it on Amazon. It's still out there. I think it was a pretty good book. Lots of pictures. And I got involved in a community project in Lake Como, which I don't want to say too much about because some people are still kind of bitter about it. But yeah, so I mean that was it. And the time went quickly. And once I kind of committed to doing the brewery, that was always what I wanted to do. But once I really made the decision to, we're going to go ahead and do this. I started looking for a place, and once we found the place, I think, things went really quickly, and my husband actually bought the building, and I was licensed 6 months later.
Wow. Nice. And what made you decide to open the brewery?
You mean as opposed to like a
pub? No, to continue rather than continue writing, or.
I really enjoyed the brewing. I like the product, obviously, and I really, I really consider myself a professional brewer. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed like the next, natural progression, to have my own place. And it's been kind of a rocky road, I have to tell you, especially with the last year.
Oh, it's been. I mean, I can. We can go into stories all night long, and everybody was in the same boat. But you were able early on. Obviously, now things are loosening up a little bit, and you can. Plus, you have your outdoor space that you have in front. But how did you manage through it early on with everything?
Actually, early on was great. I was never a place. If you've been to the brewery, I'm small. I do things a little differently than some other people. I'm actually in a residential neighborhood. We own the building. My husband owns the building. I own the business, and so you have to be mindful of your neighbors. You literally have people right in your backyard. So I keep relatively short hours, and because I'm doing most everything myself, especially now, I'm not one of these places that has the tasting room open 7 days a week. It's strictly weekends, and that kind of makes sense for my model. So I have like a capacity of 40 people, which to me, is really adequate. So I don't do a lot of like large events. I don't do a lot of parties, but on March 15th, what's going on here? I'm going to have to plug the phone in a minute. On March 14th last year, we did a birthday party, a 40th birthday party, and that was pretty much the last time we had people in the tasting room, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the following weekend, we switched immediately. I switched to doing beer to go. And it took a little, like the first weekend was a little slow. And then, people were ordering online. I couldn't believe. Yeah. I have to plug this phone in. So just kind of bear with me.
You got it.
Let's see. Are you getting that? Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. Hang on.
No, you're fine on this end. So.
Yep.
Yeah. I have to just... I'm going to set it down for a minute. Hang on.
You got it.
Hang on.
It's all good.
Yeah. And, what I found, and the sales were great. And what I found kind of early on was that there was a real kind of newfound appreciation for local, which was very good for me because, there are a lot of breweries in the state and an awful lot of breweries even in our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So it worked out. There we go.
We have a lot of breweries right in our neighborhood.
Yeah. So it worked out to my advantage. And it was, unfortunately, I would say, kind of beneficial.
Right. Was that a cat tower?
Sorry?
Was that a cat tower that I saw?
Yeah. Okay. So I've had a year to figure out how to do the Zoom deal, and you can see the lighting isn't maybe not so good. I've got this big, nice light in the background, and I really, so I'm kind of doing it on the iPhone. And yes, it is propped on a cat stand. There are no cats in here, though, just the little dog.
And the little dog. The name of
the little dog. Technically.
But yeah, so it's been tough. I have to tell you, there have definitely been some benefits to this whole thing. I mean, the patio is like a gift. It's like a gift from COVID. The ABC was, I'm going to say it, they were great to work with. The town was great to work with. I never would have been able to have that outside seating in a residential area without going through like the full planning board review and everything. Sure. And, that's another reason I try to keep things kind of low key, for the neighbors. I've got a nice townhouse complex directly across the street. I have neighbors on one side, it's kind of a mixed industrial business residential area. But the patio's been great. All those people who used to go by and think it was a pet store or a groomer, now they see people drinking beer outside, so they stop. But I don't have anybody inside yet, and it's hurting. I just can't. I could have 20 people inside, but I have no real ventilation. I don't have an air conditioning system. Yeah. And I'm just trying to be patient, with that. My overhead is low. Right now, I'm really the only person working there, which is kind of crazy.
How's your relationship with your landlord? Is it okay? Or?
It depends. He just went out and got me Chinese. He just went out and got me Chinese for after the
there you
go.
Podcast. That's what we're eating for dinner afterwards too. So there you go.
But hey, people hear, oh, your husband owns the building. Well, he's got a mortgage too. Sure. So he. It's been working out.
Absolutely, no, I get it. I was just being coy. Yeah. But you know what though, you're right though. A lot of the relaxed rules, home deliveries for some breweries, the outdoor areas that wouldn't have otherwise happened. It has, those things have helped. A great deal.
Yeah, and I think it's going to, there's legislation to get rid of the the tour requirement. Hey, look, I'm a Girl Scout, and I don't find it particularly onerous to follow the rules. I mean, that's just kind of what I do.
Sure.
But I think we all agree that the tour requirement, it's silly. It's silly to require an adult to take a mandated tour of a brewery when it's ridiculous. And I think everybody realizes that, including Trenton.
Right.
But that's the way the legislation was written, and you can't just kind of ignore it. That's the way it has to be. But I think that's going to change. So we've gone from like tasting rooms where we had to do this tour to like just selling beer on the patio in plastic cups.
I'll say one thing, and I'll play devil's advocate here for a little bit, because I do agree that the tour
you're going to play devil's advocate, Dave? Seriously?
Yeah, big surprise. But I'll say, if they get rid of the tour requirement, anybody who comes to Little Dog is actually missing out.
Oh, absolutely.
As many breweries as I've been to, as many tours that I've taken, the Little Dog tour.
Absolutely. I have to.
Gretchen's tour, you will learn things no matter how much you already know.
I have to second that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I enjoy doing the tour, and I think that's what hurts now, is that I've kind of lost that aspect. I mean, like, I'm not really the brewer anymore. I'm just pouring beers in plastic cups for people and schlepping them out to the patio.
Right.
And not that I mind doing that, but it's like so much more. And I really miss the taste. I really miss the tasting room, but I will continue doing the tours once I can, for sure.
Right.
A funny story, when I, that first weekend, I guess you came that first month or the first weekend, I was open.
The first
I was
month,
like
yeah.
diligent about doing these tours, and it was a good tour.
Oh, it was a great tour.
But one of my longtime brewer friends was there with his wife, and they, sat through the tour. And she turned to him afterwards and she said, "That's what you do? That's so interesting."
That's great.
And he's kind of a man of few words, so it was. I just thought it was really funny.
That's
really
funny.
I don't know any brewery owners that are a man of few words.
Yeah, really. Well, you know what? When it comes to the tours, though, the student in me always wants to, take the tour if it's available, because it's not just, I've been on, I'll exaggerate, obviously, 1 million brew tours. Obviously, I haven't been on 1 million, but you get the idea.
Thousands.
But I want to, maybe 1,000. But I want to know about that brewery, right? I want to know what their process is, what they're brewing in, how they, so it's not,
and the
it's not learning something that I've already known, obviously, from elsewhere, but I want to know about that particular place. So,
and this show is just an extension of that desire, is it not?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I mean, I agree with you there, and I will always continue doing the tours because,
it's not mandatory.
One thing a lot of people don't realize is the ABC always left that. What is a tour? The ABC always left that up to the individual brewers. And it was never really a matter of, okay, this is the mash tun, this is the, I ferment my lagers at, that wasn't what it was supposed to be about. It was I always looked at the tour as an opportunity
to connect with
people and to tell people about what you're doing, and what's unique about your business. Hey, I'm Gretchen. I'm the owner brewer of Little Dog Brewing Company. Right. I tend to be a more traditional brewer,
Sure.
And people would complain about doing these tours, and I'd say to them, what is wrong with you that you can't manage to, or you don't have any interest in promoting your business? No, I find it nothing more insulting than going into a brewery. And I went into some, unfortunately, I don't get out, well, especially now, but I don't get out a lot to the other breweries, because we all keep the same hours.
Sure.
But I had gone to a new one that had opened in the state. This is a couple of years ago. And I walked in and I was so excited to be there. And there was some knucklehead behind the bar. And he hands, just had this this blank look on his face. And he's like, "Oh, we can't pour you beer until you have the tour. Here's the tour. Please read this. What do you want?" I mean, and that's exactly how I did it. And I was so insulted that I had made a point to come and to bring my husband and a friend from college who was down to this place. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this guy wasn't even going to, offer any information about the beer. And I just found it insulting.
Right. I got you. I agree with that too. We got a couple of comments here we'll catch up on really quick. We got
I forgot about that. I better watch what I say.
No. Okay. Matt Potensky says it's always graced. I'm assuming he didn't mean to put the S.
Matt.
It's always great to see how every brewery does the same thing slightly different. Absolutely. I totally agree with that, Matt, right? Matt Ziegler, Zigmeister, was on the show last week. Tours are great. It's the mandatory part that's got to go.
Yep, right on,
absolutely.
Matt. That's right.
Cheers, Matts.
Cheers, Matts. Brian Alt said, if a brewery is doing a tour, I'll always take the tour. Absolutely. Always. I do too. And Brian also said she's a German Girl Scout, just going back a couple minutes.
Wait, that might be kind of scary. Don't say that.
and Gene Lynch says, hello, Gretchen.
Hi, Gene. Is there anyone on here that I don't know? This is weird.
At the moment,
probably not.
Because
anybody who's watching this show knows Jersey beer. If they know Jersey beer, they've been to your brewery.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another story. Now, if we can get back to the beginning days, what the name of the brewery?
Yes. Talk about that.
Okay. So, I thought, there's some people who have a name and they have their labels all done and everything before they even think about really learning the craft or filing their paperwork or whatever. I was kind of the other way. I was like, I knew I wanted to do the brewery. I knew, Gretchen Schmidhausler should have sort of a German themed brewery without it being too, Epcot like, So unlike Kane, Schmidhausler doesn't look so good on a hat or a T-shirt.
Nice arch, maybe.
Yes.
Then I thought, okay, let me look for maybe there's a cool German word, that I could use. And then I thought about kind of, some other things that I thought, I realized were a little off-putting, were a little pretentious or whatever. And I was trying to avoid that. My husband had some really bad ideas. The honest magpie.
Well, I mean, he had one really good one, right?
The honest magpie was one of them.
The honest
magpie.
Huh.
Anyway,
That is
and one day, I was on the Parkway and a truck went by and it, like a painted van and it's something Hund, hound, H-U-N-D, Hund. And I thought, Hund. How do you say? I don't speak any German, unfortunately. He said, okay, how do you say, little dog in German? And it's like Kleinsthund or Kleiner Hund, and that doesn't exactly roll off the tongue either.
No.
But the more I thought about it, little dog, it wasn't pretentious. It was kind of, down to earth. I love dogs, but it's not and this is where I get myself into a lot of trouble. It's not a dog themed or centered brewery. I really initially, a couple of things. I kind of like things that you can talk about on different levels. And I think of myself as the little dog, at least I did. I was opening right after Kane. Kane opened. Kane was my nearest neighbor. They opened 2011. Beach House was getting ready to open. In fact, they opened the month, I think, a couple months after me. So I was the smallest brewery in the area, and I was kind of a little dog. Mm-hmm. And at the time, my husband and I had adopted I've always had dogs all my life, multiple dogs, and I've always had large dogs. So we had adopted a Basenji. Basenji, if you don't know, is the barkless dog of Africa. It's the ancient breed. They called them a pariah breed, pariah dog. Man, they are difficult. Quincy was the original little dog. He was a tricolor Basenji. He is the dog featured on all the logos. I'm sure everyone has seen it. And then we have a version on the Gesundheit of Quincy as Der Wunderhund.
Der Wunderhund.
Der Wunderhund. And, I've just really, the other dogs, like the English setters I had, I always felt like they were kind of my buddies. Like we were all in this together, would hang out together, would go for walks, whatever. But Quincy was like, he was different. He was like just kind of special to me. And so I kind of liked naming something after him. But the Basenji is small, it's independent, it's tenacious, and it's very, very challenging to own, much like a brewery. So the name kind of works on different levels. So people get so irate, when they call or they come by and I say, we are not dog friendly. I love dogs, but I accept that not everybody does. Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately our little patio or a little tasting room is not the place for dogs. So that gets me into a lot of trouble because of the name. And I said to somebody one day, I said, look, if it was called the Laughing Cow, would you bring your cow? I mean, so.
Now, aren't you?
If it was laughing, I would bring it.
Aren't you linked to was it the National Basenji Association?
Oh yeah, they love me. I'm actually they're the Basenji. I don't know if it's the Basenji Club of America
or something like that.
Yeah. They have their timeline, and it starts out like in ancient times. And like one of the more recent entries is 2014. Little Dog Brewery, possibly the only Basenji themed brewery in the world, opens in Neptune City, New Jersey.
That's awesome.
You gotta love it.
And that group has been very supportive. They order a lot of merchandise. Quincy was well known, and now we have our second. We lost him a little prematurely, and now we have Jasper. Jasper. He's the second incarnation of the little dog.
Now, when you opened, was it a GoFundMe that you had going?
Hold that thought.
It wasn't a
GoFundMe.
It was a Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. That's right.
Yeah, it was a Kickstarter campaign.
Can't hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I got Matt. I just want to make a comment from Matt. He said, unfortunately, can't. I didn't get too far ahead of it. He said, unfortunately, can't say pink fuzzy bunnies in German, and it sounds like you're cursing out someone. He said, so.
Everyone just pulled up their Google Translator. See what he's talking about.
I'll have to try that later.
Yeah, I'm going to do that one a little later. So that's right. It was Kickstarter back then. It was before GoFundMe existed.
So it was Kickstarter, and the video, if anyone, it's still online. If anyone, wants to check it out, it actually is kind of funny, if I do say. So, kind of my, my thing was, okay, look, here I am, I've got the building, I've got, a small core of loyal supporters and investors. I've got the equipment, but really, so I'm not looking, it's not like a pipe dream, it's not like, hey, I've been home brewing for 6 months and now I want to start a brewery and I'm doing a fundraiser for, I need $200,000. It wasn't that kind of a thing. I was looking for $6,500 to buy merchandise and to trick out the tasting room, because being in the brewing industry for so long, I know that you can make a lot of money from selling merchandise, but it costs money to bring it in. Mm-hmm. Every time, you ask a brewery, hey, do you have hoodies or something like that? I mean, you're talking about a big outlay, especially if they're ordering smaller quantities. So that stuff costs money.
Sure.
So, again, I keep bringing up my husband. He's a retired corporate attorney, and he's very serious and conservative, which is a good thing. And he did not like the idea of the Kickstarter, And every day he would come home from work and I'd show my trajectory on my phone and I'd say, what do you think now? What do you think now? So I made my goal in a week, and I in a month I did it for 30 days, and I raised, I think $11,000 and netted about $10,000 from that. And it was awesome. I did use it to buy merchandise, which of course I sent out to people. I mean, I wasn't asking them for something for nothing. I had, I thought the t-shirts were nice, good quality, and the hats, and the big draw was I would put your dog's picture on the screen. And you know what? I did that for 5 years, and I think we're just going to, I've actually moved the TVs, and I think we're just going to do something different with, videos of the brewing process, or, something a little bit more interactive. But that's what I did. And, people can blame me maybe for Kickstarter and GoFundMe being illegal now in New Jersey for alcohol-related businesses, because I had a visit from one of the latest director of the ABC, and I was kind of giving him, they kind of, he and a couple of the attorneys just kind of came on a fact-finding mission, and I was giving him the whole little dog experience. I had the TVs on showing the loop pictures, and I said, and those are my Kickstarter backers. And he turned to the attorney and he said, Kickstarter, we have to do something about that.
Really?
Yeah.
But to those looping pictures, if I may indulge for half a second here. If you remember, I was part of the Kickstarter. I've got my glasses, I got my coasters, and my little dog, one of the littlest dogs I ever owned, Anna, was one of those looping pictures. And just before the show, I got the news that she is going to be put down. Oh. So, and here, I don't know if we can see her on there, but there she is.
Yeah.
You remember her?
I sure do, yeah.
Yeah, so she's so just want to mention that my little Anastasia, her full name.
How old?
She's, what is she, 16? So she's lived over, and she's a rescue. She's a rescue. So she got a pretty good life. From I think we got her from at the time it was Mega Pets in Parsippany. Mm-hmm. So, gotcha. But. So okay, I'm done indulging myself.
It's always hard. I kind of, just as an aside, I kind of take the approach. I have a lot of pets, and I've always had a lot of pets because it's a little bit easier to bear when you have like a full house. Like the dog beds in my house never really get cold. And we have 2 dogs right now and 3 cats. And I would love to have a 3rd dog, but that discussion is really going nowhere.
So, where are we?
After that, I need to open another beer.
There we go. Matt just said there was a pause for like 6 seconds. I'm not sure when, because we actually didn't drop anything on our side, so I'm not sure where that went. So
was the whole video, or was it just John?
Well, it wasn't just that, because Gene said freeze frame, and then Brian said uh-oh, and then Brian said, and we're back.
Okay, so it was the whole show. Well, we're looping through your computer, and if your computer is a little on the 6 side.
Well, no, we're not, because it's totally. I'm going.
Oh
through
yeah,
mine,
we're on the
but
web.
We're all on. This is all on the web, so I don't know where that is from. So I apologize for anybody about there. But Matt Ziegler, by the way, a couple minutes ago said, "Well, there goes my plans for this summer." Not exactly sure what comment that was.
He probably was going to. We're going to do a GoFundMe, Matt,
or a Kickstarter. There we go. And then I just want to get, because this was pretty funny. Brian said he brought a cow to New Glarus once. So they threw him out. So.
They kept the cow, though.
They kept the cow, though. Yeah, exactly. But
threw Brian out.
Brian will be here all week. Tip your bartenders.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to open up the second beer? Is that what you're doing? Is that
already done. Already done did.
You already did you?
Already done did it.
Why don't you tell us what that is? Oh, yes.
So I had to go with a Weihenstephaner, and I don't know if I've said that right. Weihenstephaner, right?
Weihenstephaner.
The Vitus. The Vitus. Originally, I was going to get the original, but then I realized I would actually be drinking 2 lagers in one day on the show, and we know that we can't have that. So went with the Weizenbach, which is technically an ale. Mm-hmm. Oh, the banana.
Very nice, huh?
I love this beer. I really do like that beer a lot.
I'm going to open up mine right here. And this is a beautiful beer as well. This is Schmidhausler's Aventinus.
And if you had not told me you were going to drink that, I almost picked that up today.
There you go. It is a.
We don't like to duplicate.
No, we don't like to duplicate here, unless necessary.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? It's a Weizen Doppelbock, I believe. It's a combo.
Nice.
Kind of a hybrid Weizenbach Doppelbock, but that's a beautiful beer. It's
beautiful beer.
It's one of my favorites. So. Gretchen, what are you drinking your second beer? Are you having the Gesundheit, right?
I'm sorry, I'm a little out of practice. I'm still in the Duck Boy Pale.
Are you still in the Duck Boy?
I'm really enjoying it, but yeah.
Enjoy it. Cheers.
Prost.
Prost.
But now I'm motivated to open the German, my alt beer.
Not named after Brian.
There. No. I'm drinking the Gesundheit now.
There you go. Matt Ziegler just said, got the Vitus in the fridge. Just finished an Eyinger Weizenbach. There you go.
Oh, nice.
And Matt Potensky said Vitus is one of his favorite beers. And what's a dunkel, Matt?
Well, the Vitus isn't a dunkel.
The Vitus isn't a dunkel. And
you love my dunkels, but
anyway. In any event, this beer is so good. In any event or in every event. So what are your future plans? Aventinus. Aventinus is a Weizen Doppelbock. It's not a dunkel. It's got wheat in it. It's a Weizen something. I think it's a Weizen Doppelbock. Check that out, Matt. I believe you more than I believe my memory, so go for it. There you go.
I would second that. Unless it comes to movie quotes or members of bands.
There you go. Well, then I'll
or sports stats. Yeah.
Well, sports. I mean, that goes without saying. I mean, come on, really, seriously. What was I going to say, Gretchen? What are your future long range plans? Where do you see yourself doing? Post all of this, lunacy and things get back to normal. You want to?
It's crazy to think that I've been open for 6 years, and in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm just beginning. If that makes sense, I've been through so many I've seen so many, even in the time I've been here, certainly longer term in the industry, so many, changes and trends and whatever. So one thing I did was, look, I've been doing this a long time. I think of myself as a professional career brewer. I know, for example, I do the more traditional styles. I like the fact that my can art is a little, more, I I don't want to say stayed. What's the word I'm looking for?
Subdued.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Classic and clean.
Classic. I want that I want people to look, and I want them to understand where it came from. And I want them to be able to read the name. One of the things I learned from being at Basil Teas for so long, and just kind of paying attention to your customers, is people don't want to be embarrassed. Like they're not going to order a beer like if they can't really pronounce the name or they can't kind of read what the can says. I'm trying to kind of build a brand. So I want the beers to look, I want the cans to look, the packaging to look like they're in the same family, so people can, recognize whatever. But that doesn't mean I'm kind of stuck doing things a certain way. I'm always looking for new, innovative, avenues. But I'm doing most everything myself. I don't have a partner in the business, and it's hard. It's hard kind of pulling everything together yourself. And so I have great ideas, but I just get to, to kind of see them through. But one thing I did after the first of the year, I signed with a distributor. This is something I've wanted to do for a while because I certainly recognize that, I'm not going to build the business selling bottles that people are going to keep in their basement for 3 years and then open up, would you pay like $7 for that bottle? That isn't keeping me in business. But no, it's time to move on, and we need to get this beer into cans and get it into the stores. And that's what I'm kind of working towards. So I have a distributor, and I tell you how freeing is that to not have to worry about other people have other ideas about distributors, I'm sure, but to not have to worry about getting the solicitor's permits and hiring people and kind of managing them, it's just like so freeing. I love it. And I've only we have like our relationship is like like a month old, but I have really high hopes for that. I actually I think a lot of people don't like to talk about this, but I actually contract brewed the first 2 beers out at River Horse. I had them do the Gesundheit and the Decoy. It's on the label, as it should be. And I gave them a big shout out when I started. But that was the way for me. They're doing 20 barrel batches. That was a good way for me to get started. I was out there. We went over the recipes. I was there when they brewed them. I was there when they canned them. I think the beer is a real good representation of my beers. But today, I got a tabletop canning line in. I'm really excited about that. It was, on order for a couple of months, and it's here. And so going forward, I'm going to be able to do my canning in-house. And
congratulations.
And I think that's great.
Here,
and
cheers. That's awesome. Congrats.
So we're doing 16-ounce cans, 4 packs. This is a crazy time. I'm beginning to hoard some cans. As I think I mentioned earlier, I was like thrilled. I just found a pallet, 16 ounces that are should be here next week or something. But I think that's definitely the way to go. So that's one thing. Need to get people back to the brewery, need to get people back in the tasting room. I'm actually going to be doing a very limited homebrew supply store out of the brewery.
Oh,
and,
nice.
I'm going to do some kits, kits kind of, just like, seasonally, and only have a couple available. I mean, it's not going to be one-stop shopping. It's for someone local who broke their hydrometer, or somebody else who.
How about a wort chiller? I think that's the only thing I'm missing from my home brew.
Yeah, I mean, do people use hydrometers? But anyway, they should.
They should.
But yeah, so I'm going to do that. And
Bill Cedar says, "Congrats on your partnership with Liquid Runner." So I just want to throw that up.
Oh, very good. Yeah, Liquid Runner. I don't even know did I mention them. My bad. I should have.
No.
He knew. He just beat you to it. That's all.
Brand new January 1. and I think they're going to do a great job for me. But I think the little homebrew shop deal, that'll work. And then, that's kind of another way to keep the brewery open a few more hours, because I really, for to-go beer, because I can't really justify being there myself. When I'm there, I'm working.
Right.
I don't have time to come out and chit chat with somebody and to sell a couple cans of beer.
Sure.
When I'm there, I'm in the middle of something, and I really can't afford to pay someone to just kind of hang out on the off chance that a customer might come in.
Sure.
So anyway, I think this will work out, and so I kind of feel like it's almost post-COVID. I know it's not quite, but we're kind of reinventing ourselves. We still have the same core beers. I'm adding a couple of others. There's a beer, actually, an English style IPA that I had made a couple of times, and it got really good. Was well received. It's called Jasper, after the second little dog, the new little dog. And it's about 6%. It's an English style IPA. And so that means that you're going to get more earthy kind of herbal notes, rather than, like the citrus, which I love. I love that too, but that's just not what I do. Other people do it much better, so let them do it. Sure. So I want to do Jasper in the 4 packs as well.
No plans for a milkshake IPA.
No plans for a milkshake IPA, he said.
Not right now, no.
Yeah, no lactose shipments to Little Dog.
There you go.
Yeah,
what's coming with the cans on the pallet?
Do you remember about a year ago, everyone was doing the Altogether IPA,
sure.
And I brewed. I thought it was a really nice West Coast version of that, and I thought it was great. I did it in the 25.4 ounce cans. Is what I do out of the brewery. I call them the oil cans.
Sure.
And it's real good. I did more. I think I put more hops in that beer than I used in 2019. But people seem to like it.
Absolutely. Matt says, Matt Potensky said, put me down for a 4-pack of Jasper.
Awesome.
I'll go for 2.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, you've got a few pre-orders.
I think the three of us will take a case. How's that?
Yeah.
So, I wanted to say one thing just to say, Matt, you're probably absolutely right. Dunkelweizen equals dark wheat beer. Yep, it's a box strength version. That is very, very true. So I'll defer to you on that. This is where I got my whole Weizen Doppelbock is a category on Untapped. So I went with that as far as what I stated that was. But yes, Dunkel actually does make all the sense in the world. So there you go. Kudos, Matt.
Dunker. That's a slam dunk on Matt's part.
Slam dunkel on Matt's part. There you go. But in any event, well, that's great. I mean, I love coming over there. I'm like 5 minutes away by car, so I can walk to you in 15 minutes or so. So I enjoy coming over. Oh, hold on, Matt says sorry, going by BJCP categories. There you go. Categories.
Knows this beer, doesn't know how to spell so well.
Well, it's his keyboard, right? I mean, he's probably on his phone, so it's his fat.
It's his fat fingers. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, Matt fingers, not fat fingers.
Matt fingers, right? Exactly. So, in any event, I love coming over there, and Dave's back from Rhode Island now, so he'll be down often. So we'll definitely be coming by, and I look forward to everything you may and will be doing in the future. And I'm definitely looking forward to Jasper. That's for sure.
I just want to say this has been it's been a tough year for for a lot of breweries. I think some of my neighbors maybe didn't fare so well during this, and I think we're going to end up with a few less less breweries in New Jersey.
Yeah.
If not immediately, then then soon. Later. So, I don't need to tell anybody really on this podcast, I think, but, be patient, be patient with everybody. It's tough. I got myself all worked up today because I went on to my email, and there was someone had posted like a really pretty bad Google review about, really complaining about me. And I remember these people. They came, the table for 4 was, I have 12 seats on the patio. The table for 4 was in the sun. There were two of them. They wanted to sit in the sun. I said, look, I may have to move you if I have a bigger party. And I mean, they just kind of tore me apart.
You didn't move the building out of the way for them?
Come on. I'll bring the little dog next time, and that'll teach them. But I read one of the complaints. The dog wasn't there. There was no dog.
Yeah. I read the one story that you put up.
It really is a tough time, and I really, really love and appreciate the brewing community. A lot of you guys are my friends. A lot of my my fellow brewers are. I talk to them on
you have
basis.
One of my favorite pictures ever taken, and that's of Dave smiling.
Oh, and
a picture of the smiling Dave.
Actually, the little dog is kind of having a freak out now, and
we can hear him. We can hear him clopping around out there.
Yeah, he requires some
attention,
little attention,
and possibly something else. So,
oh boy, it's time for him to go out.
Do you think we're close to?
Well, sure. We're just going to do our top threes and then we wrap it up.
Usually, oh my God, I forgot about that. No, we have to. Yeah? We have to rate that. Yeah, no, he's good. He's got his phone.
He's good.
There you go.
So, so now it's definitely time for our top threes. Folks, our top three list, every week we do top threes just to fill in Gretchen and any of you out there that do not know. Top threes is, we call this 33 section. It's a nod to 1933, repeal of Prohibition. And it's a top three list. Why a top three list? Because top 10 list would take too long. So we do a top three list. This week's top three list is our top three favorite breweries in Germany. And I'm going to make another little side note that we didn't even talk about this. Dave and I didn't even talk about this. If you want to throw out your favorite beer from that brewery too, knock yourself out. So
it's probably going to happen in the conversation.
Probably going to happen in the conversation anyway. So I'm just laying it out there. So why don't we begin with our guest, Gretchen? Why don't you tell us your top three?
So when I was in Germany, I've had the opportunity to go several times. Unfortunately, they have not always been like intensive beer drinking trips. But many years ago, I took a trip with the Ale Street News, and it was their first Germany trip, and they did Czech Republic and Germany. And I will never forget it's like my most memorable experience in Germany, and probably my most memorable meal. We went to Andechs Monastery right outside of Munich, and we were up in the clouds, and it was March or early April, and so the weather was a little cloudy. It was a little cool, and we were sitting out on this like fantastic kind of. It was Germany, so I guess it wasn't a patio. I don't know what you would call it.
Right.
And I was drinking just a liter of this wonderful, mellow, dark beer and eating pork and cheese and sauerkraut. And it was
better than that.
It was just the most wonderful experience. And I just remember sitting there and thinking, I mean, not to be real corny, but, thinking, man, I'm home,
Right, yeah.
Because that's just really agrees with me. I don't know that much about my ancestors, my father's family from Germany, but I just love that day. And I think of it too, I still think of that day and the beer.
Sure. And that's your number, one of your top three. Andechs, right. And your next one?
I thought you guys were going to pick one.
Well, no, we all do a three. We all do our top
threes. Man.
We got you on the spot. You want one of us to go, and then we can come back to you?
No, I mean, I like the Munich breweries. I probably have more, familiarity with.
Sure.
So, I love the wheat beers.
Sure.
So sure, Schneider Weiss,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You pick.
All right. Dave, you want to go or you want me to go? What do you want to do?
No, I'll go. We're going to go with something. I'm going to start with Iyengar.
Okay.
We've mentioned them earlier.
Yeah.
And Celebrator is one of my favorite German beers. I've got the little. At one point, when I lived in Morris Plains, I had those little goats hanging everywhere that they hang on the bottles. Love those things. So that was definitely one. And I'm going to say Bitburger, but not because of Bitburger. Because Bitburger is the parent company for Kostritzer. Mm-hmm. And Kostritzer is hands down one of my favorite German beers. It turned me on to the Schwarzbier style.
Yeah, Kostritzer Schwarzbier is amazing.
It's just if anybody's ever going to make a Schwarzbier, first compare it to Kostritzer, and if you're not close, try again, because you're going to be judged against Kostritzer.
There you go.
And the third one, which is probably going to be on John's list as well, because I'm drinking one of them right now, is the Weihenstephaner. Mm-hmm. But I could have gone with why am I blanking on?
Side note: this is where Dave gets in a fourth.
It's where I slide in a fourth there. But the problem is I'm blanking on the name of the brewery. It's my favorite Kolsch. It's not Goffel. It's the other one.
Well, you say that
the red label.
The red label. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Not Erdinger. No, it's not Erdinger.
No, not Erdinger. Oh, Erdinger. Man, oh, damn. Now you bring up Erdinger. That's one of my favorite breweries in Germany.
There you go.
Okay, so you slid in a fourth and was sliding in a fifth for me.
Reisdorf. Matt said it's Reisdorf.
Thank you, Matt. Yes, Reisdorf. Reisdorf Kolsch.
Reisdorf Kolsch. And Matt also said that Kostritzer is the Cadillac of Schwarzbier.
Yes, it is. There's no T in there, but okay. No, just ripping apart Matt's spelling.
Stop it with Matt's spelling. It's not his spelling. He knows what he's spelling. It's his fingers.
Yes,
his fingers don't listen to his mind, so that's fine. Anyway, in fact, before he said it's his Sasquatch fingers on his little phone. That's what it is. But in any event, okay, my three are. I'm gonna take a nod from Gretchen Ondex. Their Dunkel is probably one of the best Dunkels. Straight actual Dunkel. Named a Dunkel, a lower ABV. I think it's 5.4%, their Dunkel, but it's so good. In fact, the first time I ever had it, I have not had the pleasure of going to, of being on a trip to Germany as of yet, and I will get there. But Zoom Schneider in the East Village in New York City on Avenue, I think it's on the corner of Avenue C and 6th, has on tap, especially during Oktoberfest. And their Dunkel is just, it's just amazing. It's such a good beer. My number two would be Weihenstephaner, and their Hefeweizen. That's a beer I could walk into a bar that has 50 taps and has amazing beer on every tap. If Weihenstephaner Hefeweizen is on one of those taps, that's the first beer I'm getting.
So we're going to Asbury Fest Hall soon.
Let's go. I'll meet you there.
I'm right around the corner.
Absolutely.
We don't need an igloo now. The weather's getting warm.
Exactly. And my number one German brewery is got to be Schneider Weiss, and for the main reason of this beer, Aventinus is just
cannot argue with that.
That's my Cadillac for my go-to beers. So
and I'm gonna I'm gonna second Dave's suggestion. Onger was great. We had a really nice beer dinner there when we were there, and I really enjoyed it. It was a while ago, and I needed to be reminded.
That's great. We got a couple of guest top threes here. As soon as I'm frozen again. So as soon as it stops spinning, I'll be.
But you're frozen very well. You've got a great look on your face.
I got a great smile.
You don't look goofy.
Good, right? Hopefully that stays.
Right, that awkward freeze.
It's not one of those bad ones.
That's usually how I get frozen.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's happened a couple of times before. Folks, no worries. If you're going to tune into the sports podcast tomorrow, come hell or high water, I will have this issue resolved before then, because
he's not going to sleep.
Absolutely insane. No, I'm going to have to work on it all night. I don't care, but it's ridiculous. But in any event, in a second we'll get to. We have two. We have one from Matt Ziegler, Zigmeister Brewing, and we have one from Matt Potensky. Two Matts gave us their top threes. And as soon as it stops spinning,
the dueling Matts. And we've lost John. This is new. There's times I've dropped out of the podcast and John's had to carry the show. And so.
And I'm back.
And now Johnny's back.
And now I'm back. So I don't know what you heard of me. So
we heard nothing.
Yeah. Right here.
Okay. So
did you hear any of my rambling, or did I?
We heard no cursing whatsoever.
Did you hear any of my? Did my voice stop after we talked about my face being in a decent pose or whatever?
Yeah, you stopped. You disappeared off the screen entirely.
Entirely. Yeah, no, I know. I backed out and I'm back. Okay.
And we couldn't hear you. But anyway,
so Matt Ziegler's top three are Eyinger, Weinstefaner, and Schneiderweiss. So
perfect.
And Matt Potensky's top three are...
the best part of that is if you go back to Matt Ziegler,
okay,
and you look at his profile picture and look how he's dressed.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
So right there, being in the lederhosen, that gives extra weight to his.
In the lederhosen, holding up the Stein.
Yep.
And that picture, and that's actually a video. If you watch it for about 15 minutes, he's still holding that up. He's not moving. So. That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
So that is and with hat on because we've gone through Wunderhund. Now that is Wundermann.
Yep, exactly. And Matt Potensky's are Weinstefaner. Vitus is his favorite. Kostritzer and Hofbrau. Those are his three. And he also says that Weinstefaner has been brewing for almost 1,000 years.
Wow.
He figures that they've dialed in the recipe by now. You would hope.
Yeah.
You
know me. I'm not going to go to I rarely go to brewery openings in the first month or two because I want them to dial in. Right. So I think Mr. Potensky is correct. I think it's time for me to get to Weinstefaner.
I think you have
to
go
probably
to
dialed in. Yeah, they're probably dialed in now.
So there you go.
The oldest continuous brewery on the
oldest
planet.
Continual operating brewery on the face of the planet Earth. This is true. So. Although
we'll see what the rover discovers on Mars.
This is true. In any event, yeah. So that's pretty much our list. Wait a minute, and hold on. He says they were brewing before England was a country. Yeah, very true. Very true. Amazing when you think about it. Really,
before the Norman invasion. Okay.
Before the Norman invasion, exactly. Well, what before that? So anyway, all right. Any last words of interesting things popping up brew-wise, beer-wise coming up on your brewing schedule, Gretchen? That anybody should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I feel like I've been really kind of on, definitely limited duty the last year. I'm not, you might hear people say that it hasn't affected them at all. They're still producing so much beer. I'm not.
Right.
I mean, and I'll tell you that, the fact that I don't have a tasting room going on. I'm not doing growler fills, just the cans to go. We're getting through, but I'm just not going through the volume of beer. And, I always had distribution. I always had, limited distribution. I was doing everything myself. But not having, the keg sales in a year really has really hurt and made a difference. I mean, I'm brewing a lot less frequently than I had been. I'm looking forward to kind of ramping that up, and that means more styles. But you know me, I don't tend to have, I'm not going to have 12 beers on when you come in. I'm going to, I'm going to have, kind of the 6 core beers. So I would love to come up with something, and I am going to come up with something like brand new. But this is just not the time, sure. Probably in the fall. Neptune has kind of like an interesting history, and not to go on, but do you remember the Adams Company? They did like novelties, like they did plastic dog vomit, and they're the ones that had the the ice cubes with like the flies in them.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
So they were in Neptune City.
Okay.
They're in Neptune City.
I did not know that.
And I like
are they?
No, they're long gone. When was the last time you bought plastic?
Well, you never know. Well, last time, it doesn't mean it's there. If I didn't buy it,
itching powder and
itching powder.
There you go.
So I had some guys come in who had bought the rights to all these names, and I thought, oh man, I would love to do like a line of beers called like Joy Buzzer and Smokin' Monkey. Do you remember the Smokin' Monkey?
Smokin' Monkey, yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember the Smokin' Monkey, yeah.
So that was all like SS Adams Company or something.
Did they do the clacking teeth too?
Yeah, maybe that sounds a little. That sounds a little high tech for them.
High tech for that.
A little highbrow for them too.
There you go.
But I thought about doing, but I don't know own the names to them. But right across the street from me, where this townhome complex is now, was the Steiner Pajama Factory, and I'm on Steiner Avenue. Okay.
Right.
And they apparently were a big deal for a long time, I guess, in the 18, if anyone from Neptune City Historical Society is listening, they can correct me. But I guess they were a big deal in the 1800s, and they basically invented the nightshirt. And they were across the street.
A fan of nightshirts.
Yeah. And they had a huge sign that said, "We put the world to sleep." And I guess
so does this podcast.
I guess at some point nightshirts fell out of favor, and the and the business kind of floundered. But
I think they're back.
I thought, geez, I would love to do. I've always wanted to do a beer commemorating them because they were right across the street, and I will. But I just haven't settled on a style. But I think that'll be my.
Do you have a name yet?
Well, I'm thinking of Sleeper.
So I was going to suggest a pajama party.
There you go.
You could give me a couple of ideas, because it would be a kind of a classic style that's maybe had a resurgence, or kind of has been rediscovered.
You could do a line of them, and you could have a couple different variants, and you can call it.
Yeah.
You can Sleeper. You can call it a pajama party.
Union suit.
Union suit.
Union suit. Yeah.
You could do a really light blonde and call it Bear.
Sheer. How about sheer?
Sheer. Right, there you go.
Yeah.
Matt said, what do you say? Nightshirt Schwarzbier. There you go.
Nightshirt Schwarzbier.
Have you done a Schwarzbier?
I haven't. And
you need to.
Yeah, one of my favorite styles.
I want to.
Yeah.
One of my favorite beers is done by my neighbors in Belmar Beach House. Their winter rental. I don't know if that's technically, it's a dark lager. I don't know.
It's a Schwarzbier, yeah.
It is a Schwarzbier, yeah. And I just always loved that beer. And maybe I haven't done it just because, how many Schwarzbiers do you need within a mile and a half?
A lot.
You know what? It doesn't matter.
We'll drink them.
We'll drink them.
Good.
Absolutely.
Well, with that endorsement, I'm on it. For next year.
And John and I will come down and help you brew it.
We will definitely help you brew it, and we will help you drink it too.
Good.
That's besides the point. So,
great.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to all of that, and even more. With you.
Thank you so much for having me on. I know this was a last minute deal, and I didn't do all my homework because I didn't have 3 German brewers.
It's all good.
We really, really appreciate you coming on.
We definitely do. And a quick aside, too, Matt Potensky just said you could do a Stein beer and call it Steiner.
I actually have
there's
one called Steiner Weiss.
Steiner Weiss.
I do a half, and it's called Steiner Weiss.
There you go, Matt. So
yeah.
She was good thought, but she was ahead of it. So there you go.
She's been there.
She was on the ball.
Been there, done that.
That's right.
Yes, as Dave was saying, we definitely love the fact that you came on the show. We've been talking about having you on for a while, and we were going to book it, and then this worked out perfectly. So, don't go anywhere. Don't hang up with it just for a second. I want to talk to you after we log off.
As long as Jasper's legs aren't crossed.
Yeah, exactly. He sounds like he's chewing away on his bone over there, so he's good.
Yeah, we're going to hear him chewing.
So, all right. Well, again, thanks for so much for coming on. I'm spinning again. So, do you still hear my audio?
We can hear John, so you can go through your
everybody.
spiel.
Thanks for listening.
Oh, I emptied. I pretty emptied.
All right.
So Gretchen, pay attention. This is impressive. So John goes through this. He doesn't have it. He has it memorized, but he still likes to look at his notes.
I always just make sure the notes are okay. So there you go.
Yeah. So this is good.
Matt said he's pretty sure he drank the Weiss beer, and he said thanks, Gretchen. So appreciate it for everything again. Thank you for coming on so much, and thank you for making such great beer for all the time you've been making
clean, classic
styles. Awesome, and I've been drinking your beer since Basil Teas, so definitely enjoy it.
Yeah.
So. All right. Anyway, so we'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching and paying attention, even when we were freezing. We want to thank everybody for watching.
I wasn't paying attention.
I know. And for those of you that were just listening to the podcast, thanks for listening. don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at 6:30. For those of you that just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again,
I finally subscribed.
Good for you. It's about damn time. It's only been 7 months. So, anyway, again, thanks for following along with us. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of good beer, but drink responsibly. Make sure you visit Little Dog Brewing down in Neptune City.
If you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Total
Please,
injustice,
we're a well-kept secret. We really can't afford to be much.
You got to stop by.
So go over to Local Smoke, get yourself some barbecue. Then run over and then wash it down with some phenomenal beer.
Leave Local Smoke, hit Fourth, go straight over. You're good to go.
Leave your car at Local Smoke, especially if it's overheating, because that's where my car overheated last time I was down. and walk on over. You'll be fine.
Anyway, so do that and make sure you enjoy yourself this weekend and have a wonderful time, guys. Cheers.
Prost.
They found him face down in his waffles, maple syrup dripping from his fake robe. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems that he shit out of luck. This little penny went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy's eating corned beef in the back of a Ford Pinto. You better run, you better go, 'cause you're messing with a big toe. You better run, you better go, 'cause you're messing with a big toe, big toe, big toe, big toe.